Have Doom 1 and 2 aged well? Yes. But you already knew that. You just wanted to be validated for your opinion, which I respect. But I should probably talk about this for at least 8 more minutes, so some backstory. I love the Doom franchise, despite getting into it very late. Like, 20 years late. In 2014, I got into PC gaming, and one of the first Steam games I bought was Doom 3 BFG Edition. I didn't understand what roll dolls the BFG had to do with Doom, but I didn't care, because this version came with the entire trilogy. Though I was mainly interested in Doom 3, I thought I'd give the first game a shot for a few minutes, which turned into a few hours. I don't think I ever beat it, but my god, was I impressed. The mere act of running and gunning on a bunch of demons felt so great that I immediately understood why this series was so beloved. For whatever reason, I didn't go back to finish Doom 1 or even start Doom 2, instead playing the subsequent entries to completion. So now with the Dark Ages coming out in May, I figured it was time to wipe the first 2 Doom games off my backlog. But I'm not returning to the Doom 3 BFG editions. Those are capped at 30 FPS and the music just doesn't sound right. Instead, the best way to play these games officially is with the Doom 1 and 2 bundle from Night Dive Studios, which includes higher frame rates, widescreen, and a bunch of accessibility options. Now, I could have modded these games with GZ Doom, but I don't really feel like it. There's way more in this bundle than just these 2 games. There's also the expansions like the Plutonia Experiment and Sigil. Yeah, there's a lot here, and I bought it all on sale for $2. I'll be focusing on the first 2 Doom games though, as I don't have time to go through all the others, especially after hearing about how difficult some of them are. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Plutonia. For now, let's jump right into Doom, a revolution for the FPS genre, though it wasn't the first FPS game. That would be Maze War from 1973. You thought I was going to say Wolfenstein 3D, huh? Well, that was considered by many to be the first true FPS when it came out in 1992. This was developed by id Software, who took everything they learned from Wolfenstein 3D and made an even better FPS a year later called Doom. You see that? We've come full circle. Here you play as a space marine fighting hordes of demons in research facilities located on the 2 moons of Mars. But who is this space marine, you ask? Well, he's simply known as Doom Guy, as we never find out his real name. He wasn't supposed to have a name in the first place because he represents you, the player. The game's text boxes and instruction manual even refer to him as you, so he's essentially a blank slate. He's called the Doom Slayer in the new Doom games, but I prefer Doom Guy as it implies he's just a chill dude who hates demons. Plus, the subtitles in the flashbacks call him Doom Guy, so we'll leave it at that. His real name is probably something boring like John. Okay, after I wrote that line of dialogue, I looked up the cast of the awful 2005 Doom movie and found out his name in it was actually John. Just perfect. That said, you do not need to play Doom for the story, as it's not the main focus. There are text boxes between episodes that explain what happens, but no exposition at the beginning as to how demons invaded these facilities. That is unless you looked in the instruction booklet. Yeah, remember those? Basically, Doom Guy was shipped off to Mars for assaulting his superior officer after he ordered him to fire on civilians. Doom Guy, more like Good Guy, the research facilities on Mars's 2 moons were experimenting with interdimensional travel. And oopsies, they opened portals to hell. So Doom Guy and his squad were sent to secure one of the facilities, but after said demons wiped out said squad, he got angry. Like, really angry. Thus, you, the player, are put in the shoes of said Doom Guy to rip and tear until it is done. Starting with only a pistol, you'll soon get more weapons like a shotgun when you take on these monstrous creatures. If you're like me, the shotgun might be your favorite weapon as it emits a satisfying crunchy sound at every trigger pull. I think shotguns are the most commonly used weapon in Doom games anyway, because it's easy to find ammo for them, and their damage output is perfectly balanced. They can one-shot a lot of the weaker enemies if you're close enough, which is why the first few levels feel like a breeze. It's a perfect time to learn how the gameplay flow works, although on paper, it's absurdly simple. Run, aim, and shoot. Though I can't stress enough how good it feels, especially in the remaster. Movement is snappy and responsive from walking to aiming, even though you can't aim vertically. This might be jarring to younger gamers, but it's easy to get used to, as the bullets just go towards the enemies when you aim in their general direction. If you've played and enjoyed other boomer shooters like Dusk, Proteus, or even the new Doom games, you understand why this gameplay style is so fun. Running through an arena dodging bullets while shooting at hordes of enemies is exhilarating. especially if you've got a hot kill streak going. It's not like a war shooter where you're constantly behind cover hoping the self-heal kicks in. Doom makes you feel like a one-man army, with a multitude of guns strapped to your utility belt with tons of ammo. This doesn't mean you're a literal god though, as ammo can run out, and so can your health. There's no shame in starting on a lower difficulty. I chose Ultraviolence because that increases the amount of demons in each level without being an insanely hard joke as the Nightmare difficulty, where dead enemies respawn after 30 seconds and just move faster. I've heard this was added as a joke by designer John Romero after people complained Ultraviolence wasn't hard enough. I don't know if it's true, but I believe it. One thing I'm grateful for is the inclusion of quick save, because I would have pulled what's left of my hair out if I had to keep restarting levels with only a pistol. I don't care if you think this makes me a fake gamer or whatever, I have other responsibilities, and abusing the quick save function ensures I beat these games in a reasonable time. We also can't talk about Doom without bringing up the banging soundtrack composed by Bobby Prince, with tracks that'll pump you up or leave you a bit on your toes in suspense. Regardless, it's the perfect soundtrack to shoot demons to in rapid succession. There are new versions of these tracks remade by Andrew Hulshult in the remasters, but if you're going to play Doom 1 and 2 for the first time, I recommend keeping the originals on just to appreciate those classic sounds as they're still great today. Part of Doom's fun alongside the combat is its exploration, as there are secrets galore in each level. If you see a wall that's slightly out of place, chances are it leads to a secret room with additional health pickups, ammo, or weapons. I'm not afraid to admit I looked up a walkthrough at times because some of them were obtuse. Like this elevator in the first level that only goes down if you're at a certain spot where you'll have to sprint to it before it goes back up. Some non-secret doors do this too, and it's kind of bizarre. Keep in mind, this was the early 90s, when the first-person shooter genre was in its infancy, so there weren't any game design rules to follow yet. I talked to my buddy and Doom expert Trav guy about this, and he said a lot of the weird decisions were made because of someone, mainly Romero, said this'll be cool or this'll be funny. I can confirm that this statement tracks. Thankfully, this game isn't filled with annoying or straight up unfair moments, as it holds up extremely well to this day. Sure, it's a bit simple compared to the recent Doom games, there aren't any upgrades, glory kills, or even a jump button, but the core gameplay itself is still incredibly satisfying. And this all carries over into Doom 2, which is more or less Doom 1 with different maps, new enemies, and a super shotgun. I love the super shotgun as it's twice as powerful as a normal shotgun with a much wider spread. I used this thing an offensive amount of times, even though I should have been saving my ammo with the regular shotgun. This firearm is almost a necessity, as Doom 2 would be a much harder game without it, as more demons are thrown at you, some of which are significantly tougher. I owe my life to the super shotgun. Oh, and the BFG 9000, which stands for Bioforce Gun, but we all know what it really stands for. Oh, I get it now. Doom 2 takes place on Earth this time, so a few levels are set in cities with an apocalyptic skybox. Truthfully, I'm not going to talk super in-depth about Doom 2 because it's mostly similar to the first game with one new weapon and a couple of new enemies, which admittedly change the experience quite a bit. The Revenants are unhinged fools that blast rockets, Mancubuses, or Mancubi, I don't know, engulf you in flames while looking nasty, and Archviles can go die in a fire. Well, they're from hell, so they can die in a pile of snow, I guess. Doom 2 also made me hate the Lost Souls even more, especially the pain elementals they spawn out of. If there's one enemy that's been consistently annoying in the Doom franchise, it's the Lost Soul. I was warned once again by the Trav of Guy that Doom 2 is not as great as Doom 1, with there being a lot less cohesion between levels. Around halfway through the game, I understood what he was talking about. A few of these stages were extremely big for no good reason, and they often had annoying key hunts spread throughout the map. Either that or they had frustrating mazes that didn't make too much sense. Like, how was I supposed to know to keep going back and forth between these corridors to get to the exit? But they all had one thing in common: massive enemy ambushes. Not that these weren't in the first game, they're not inherently bad either, there are just way too many in Doom 2. They were exhausting, and I quick saved after every battle in case I was about to run into one, which I was, every time. Despite these frustrations, I still enjoyed my time with Doom 2 simply because it was more Doom, which is something I already love. It's worth diving into after completing the first game just to see those new enemies that are now commonplace in the franchise, such as Revenants and Mancubus. Plus, there's nothing like that super shotgun. Ooh. I thought I would need a break from Doom after playing 1 and 2, but then I immediately jumped into Doom 64, then Doom 3, then Doom 2016. All I have left to replay now is Eternal. I just had a Doom marathon. I can't get enough of this franchise. So again, Doom 1 and 2 have aged very well and are absolutely worth playing in 2025 or whatever year you watch this video in. And it's a great time for that too, with Doom the Dark Ages coming out in May. These classic games are a crunchy good time, even if Doom 2 has its issues.